Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about The Last of Us. It's a show that I have no idea about. I don't know anything about the video game. I have no preconceived notions going into it. But I'm really into zombies slash post-apocalyptic shows and movies. So when I saw little clips of the show on TikTok, I said I have to watch it. Lately, before I watch a show, I don't watch the trailers. I try not to watch clips. I just like to go into it blind and then I'm surprised. That's like my new thing, and it helps in the viewing experience a lot. So the show starts off in 1968. It's an interview between two scientists with different views and the host. And one of the scientists brings up this new theory of his that even though human beings might not lose to a virus, we might lose to fungi. And he basically says if the world gets warm enough, yeah, human beings might lose the war, which is the war on viruses and fungi, and we might cease to exist. And then we cut to 2003, and then we meet Joel, Sarah, and Tommy. Sarah, who's his younger daughter, kind of acts like the parent. She wakes him up from bed, she makes breakfast, she remembers his birthday, she even tries to get him a gift later on in the film, and he's just kind of tired. He's maybe going through it, but throughout the entire episode, we don't really get his backstory. We don't really get to know how he came to have a daughter, who the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend was. It's kind of left ambiguous. I don't know if it's going to be presented later on in the show, but for episode 1, we do not get that. And Sarah is like very headstrong, but you can see she's very kind and just an overall good kid. So tell me why, when her dad left her alone to go bail his brother Tommy out of jail, when the dog from her neighbors comes and is basically like barking and wants help, she immediately goes over to her neighbor's house, even though the door is open, and enters further and further into the house to figure what's going on. Now, in every horror film, in any movie or show where something bad happens, you never enter a space that you don't know what you're about to meet. So of course she enters, and we finally have our first look at like the zombie design, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I like the whole like tentacles coming from the mouth. I like that the first zombie that they showed was an older woman who we previously thought was going to be like chill and you would never expect her to be a killer. It's a really good way to open up the fear in everyone. So she's almost attacked, but luckily her dad and Tommy return and they kill the old woman. They try to warn the other neighbors, but of course in real life no one is going to believe that this is real. So they just decide like they're going to run away, they're leaving. And as they begin to drive, they get into an accident and his daughter breaks or twists her ankle, so she's not able to walk or run. Unfortunately, as they try to escape because they're separated from Tommy, this weird, very scary, very agile business suit wearing zombie begins to chase them. So they're running, and thank God they see somebody from the military. And you'd think they should feel great and safe, but instead, the person in the military gets orders to kill them, even though there's a child present. And so when the military officer shoots, Joel is safe. He's not that injured. But unfortunately, his daughter Sarah got majority of the bullets. And unfortunately, she passes away. Now, this really took me for a loop because I did not expect it at all. Like I said, I did not watch the trailer, I don't know the video game, and I haven't watched any clips. So I really thought that she was going to be the main character, and I was going to be pretty pleased with that. I would have loved to see the two of them together and their dynamic. And the death of his daughter is going to be his driving force, and you will realize that once he loses his daughter, he will find more comfort, or he will gravitate towards Tommy, because basically in the world, Tommy is the only person he has left. So the show moves right along to 20 years later, and we are in Boston, 2023. It's a little bit weird to know that in the fictional world, they also had a disease, and for them, it turned out way worse than it did for us. And it's also very jarring to see how much the world has basically fallen to the wayside, and it's in our current year. There's a young boy who makes it up to the city walls, and as he's getting treatment to see whether he has the virus or not, it is very similar to how we also do our test. It's also very similar to how, you have to be careful of people who cough and who sneeze. Overall, it's just too close for comfort for me, but it's jarring enough where I'm compelled enough to keep watching. Also, we finally get to see Joel after so many years. He looks tired, and you can see that he's not just aged up in years, you can see that emotionally he is worse than when we met him. Although I do think he's quite similar to the character we met at the very beginning, he does seem harsher, but maybe it could also be this new life he's living. We can tell, and we're told so far, that he does all sorts of odd jobs just to live and survive, and he's saving up so that he can buy a battery so that he can go out of the city walls, go to Wyoming, and to make sure that his brother Tommy is okay. We are also introduced to Tess, who is his girlfriend slash lover slash partner, and she's supposed to be this badass, which I agree, she does seem very badass. And it looks as though she's doing everything she can to help Joel. I wonder if it's because she really loves him, and we're gonna get a moment where he realizes that she's always been there for him, or if she has other plans of also leaving the city. And as expected from military rule, whether it's in real life or fiction, there is an opposition. There are freedom fighters. They're called the Fireflies, and they are trying to fight for people's freedom. They don't want to live under the military. They don't want guns in their faces. They don't want to have a curfew. They want to be free. So we get a little bit of info into them. And then we are introduced to Ellie. She is a military trainee slash orphan who was kidnapped by the Fireflies because of a very, very secret and very, very important reason, which I will tell you at the end of the video. And it is the plan of the Fireflies to transport her out of Boston to a secure location. Unfortunately, that is not able to happen because there is a fight between local gangs and a lot of their people are injured. So when Joel and Tess come into contact with the Fireflies, it seems like they have some kind of understanding or previous relationship or agreement. They then agree to take Ellie across state lines, state lines don't really exist anymore, but they agree to drive her to her destination, drop her off, and then they can continue to Wyoming to see Tommy. And the only reason why they even accept to drive her across to her destination is simply because they were already planning to go, but then they lost the battery that they needed for the car. So this was more of a win-win situation for everyone, and that's basically how it came to be. Now, as they try to escape, they meet a military officer who Joel has previously been supplying drugs to. Now he kind of freaks out and he tells them, get on the ground, everybody put your hands behind your head. And when the military officer scans each of them to see whether they're zombies or not, when he scans Ellie, it comes back red, which means that she is indeed, infected with the virus. He's about to kill her. He's about to shoot her. Joel gets a whole flashback of what happened 20 years ago, and I think he sees red, or basically he sees nothing, and he jumps to attack and defend this girl who, in my mind, he sees as his daughter, or reminds him of his daughter, and he beats him to a pulp before they cross the metal gate into this scary world, which we are about to see more of in episode 2. Now, earlier I said I would tell you the reason why, this girl is a big deal. The reason is because she seems to have mutated above the virus, the fungus. So she's had the disease for about 3 weeks, but she hasn't turned into a zombie. That means that maybe with her blood they can find a cure, and hopefully the world can go back to how it's supposed to be. And another interesting thing, at the end of the episode, a song plays on the radio. And what we know so far is that the radio is a means of communication, and it's for smuggling as well. So if it's a song from the 1960s, it means that they don't have anything new. And if it's a song from the 1970s, it means they do have something new. But if they play a song from the 80s, that means trouble, like big trouble. And unfortunately, the song at the end of the episode is a song from 1987. That means that they didn't receive that code before leaving, and they're about to meet trouble, which they're not really prepared for. For me personally, I'm really looking forward to see scary zombies. I want to see as many and as much zombies and zombie situations as possible. And I want to be creeped out. I want to be scared. I want to be on my toes. And I hope that this show will be able to deliver. So far, they've given us a little bit of everything. They've given us a mystery to solve. They've given us a pretty simple but very intriguing plot. It's going to be an adventure. We are going to see things that are familiar to us, but in a post-apocalyptic setting. I am also curious to see how horrible Tommy has gotten, because he was already a pretty shitty person before the whole zombie apocalypse, with the way that he regarded his brother. So I'm curious to see how much horrible has he gotten. I also hope that the show is not lit very dark. I don't like watching a show that I have to have the brightness all the way to the top, but I still can't see. And I saw that in certain scenes in the show. So I'm hoping that it's well lit, I can see everything properly, and they spared no expense when it came to, the VX and the special effects. And basically, I just want to see some zombies. I really don't have much else to say, except for I really, really want to see some zombies looking scary, attacking people, running really fast, and creeping me out. And so this does bring me to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you managed to watch all the way to the end, let me know your comments down below. I certainly had a lot of opinions for this show, and I'm so excited to see what happens next. I'm so glad it's not a singular movie and that it's a series, and hopefully it's a world that can be built upon. So yeah, let me know your comments down below, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video.